Hello and welcome back once more here to the DreamHack Pro Circuit live from Leipzig, Germany, where we are getting things just underway here in day number 2. First series out of the way between Complexity and PSG, and we found ourselves in a situation where PSG able to step up when it was necessary.
It was extremely close series, and Complexity, they even had a little time to get a kickoff strategy going that last 15 seconds. You normally don't get that much time, and it almost worked out for them.
Almost, and you heard Farah talk about it. He's like, look, we just didn't want to make anything crazy happen. We'll let them have the ball and just depend on the defense, and it worked out well.
It did end up working out well there, but that was the last series. We got to consider what we have here today going into the next one, because things are getting spicy in day number 2. I think they're getting very, very unique and very kind of, differing results, and that is between Cloud9 and Savage. And the biggest name there is not the fact that Cloud9's in day number 2. I think a lot of people at home expects that of their world champion.
I mean, they're going to make top 4. So.
Of course. I mean, but Savage, right? The fact that they're in here, and how do we expect them to perform against a beast like C9?
So the biggest surprise to me is they took down Flipside Tactics. Like, this was supposed to be Cloud9 versus Flipside Tactics, and they are the reigning champions for the last major. So Savage, it's a huge surprise to me, because day one, honestly, that very first series we saw, whereas Rogue vs. Savage, we didn't see a worse team all day than that Savage. Then we saw them later, and they adapted, and they played extremely well. So Savage is figuring this out, and that is a great experience for them, because they're coming into the RLCS where you have to play 2 games in a week, where you'll play one, and even if you lose, you have to bounce back and adapt. So Savage, it's looking good for them right now.
It really does feel like, after that first game, the engine turned over, and Savage is what everybody expected this team to be. A solid team coming out of the Rivals Series with a solid run through the promotion and making the RLCS. And you run smack dab into the reigning world champs, and you say, all right, let's go do the same thing we already do and see what happens.
One thing that I want to pose to both of you before we get this series underway is Alpha. That is a guy that we know that there is a lot to be looking out for, being so young and mechanically gifted here. Against a team like Cloud9 that moves so fast as they do and is so great with their kind of micro touches, is he going to look like the Alpha we've come to know and love against, again, such a formidable roster?
So I expect him to be able to play against Cloud9. Like, I think Savage is going to, kind of play pretty well versus Cloud9 here, because I feel like they're a mini Cloud9 in a lot of ways, where Bluey and Devo are very similar to a Squishy and Gimmick. And then the main point of contention is like Torment is so good as that third man, and Savage really doesn't have that. Like, Alpha's not the greatest third man. They kind of just want to do a high-pressure situation. So we'll see if Alpha gets beat on some of those plays. Hopefully not, though.
Because we saw this kind of same thing happen, like, in league play with C9 versus FlyQuest. It's like you have 2 players who are willing to go challenge them all the time. It's like you'll have Gimmick and Squishy. They'll be challenging the ball, forcing the ball in the midfield, forcing the challenge game. That's Cloud9's game. And Savage, if there's any 2 players who are going to be like, yeah, let's go challenge for the ball, it's going to be Devo and Bluey. And it's all about who steps up big, and we've seen Torment do it time and time and again over Season 6. So Alpha, if you want to win this game, obviously your teammates are going to have to win the ball for you, but you're going to have to be the one to score.
Yeah, I think those are great points that both of you ended up bringing up there. But now let's change the scope over to Cloud9 and highlight this roster. It is star-studded. It is hard to say pretty much, other than, sometimes they don't always execute really anything negative about this roster.
Yeah, they just took down Tainted Minds 3-1, and honestly, they just take down that entire region of OC.
That whole region.
They've knocked the Chiefs out of 3 of the past 4 tournaments. Cloud9 just loves to beat up on the OCE region, and these guys are just so good. Like, I think the big surprise is we all know Squishy, his mechanical ability is insane. We all know Gimmick is one of the best ball chasers in the world.
He might be the best.
But Torment, what we saw at the Season 6 World Championships, where he's pulling off those flip resets, like, if we didn't have player tags, I couldn't tell you who was who, because Torment was doing exactly what Squishy and Gimmick do, and that's how they beat Dignitas with solo plays. And it was a new Torment that we've never seen before.
It's crazy how Cloud9, it's execution and they crush you, or they don't execute, and I mean, they're good enough that they still might beat you. And that's why they're such a scary team, because they're that good even when they're not 100%. And that's the hard part.
Yeah, and that's something that I've been trying to keep my eyes on, is when do they show up and when do they not? What is that variable that exists? But the team that's looking to break down that variable on the other side here, it is Savage. We've been talking about him all day long. And is there anybody here that is Alpha 54, the young man himself, the one that we think might be able to step up? If they're going to succeed, it has to be him.
Well, it's interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, it was just we saw Alpha. The one time we saw him on stage yesterday, we didn't really get to see too much. Well, we saw them twice. They did play Veloce, but they played 3-0.
And they played him pretty well, too. But, like, I have to go to Bluey here, where he's that new leader of this team where we were expecting Savage to not be able to bounce back like this because they're a young team like Devo. He's very, very quiet. Every time we see him, extremely quiet person. Bluey is extremely young, but he has to lead this team. And on day one, they figured it out. So Bluey had to talk to the boys and reconvene, and they figured it out and played so well when we saw them later in the day. And, of course, they just took down Flipside Tactics. So they are figuring it out. They know how to adapt, and that is not something we see from teams that haven't been in the RLCS before. So this is great experience.
And that is what Blue was talking about with the interview yesterday. He said, I have to be that guy, and it's not always the easiest thing for me to do. So to see him step up and fill that team leader role was definitely a treat to watch.
Yeah. And it seems like adaptability has been something that's only getting more and more prominent. The teams that are successful are those that which can adapt. So I think you're very, very right here. Savage may have a lot going for them, but now is the time where we have to kind of draw the line. Are we on the side of Savage, or are we on the side of Cloud9 here? Gibbs?
There's no bigger fanboy in great teams than me. Cloud9 easily wins this. I think Cloud9 is insane, and they're going to make top 4 again, and they're going to make it through to D3 with an undefeated record. So I got Cloud9.
Yeah, I obviously do think Cloud9 is going to win. I'm picking them to win, but at the same time, I've seen Cloud9 just not execute a couple of times before. So yes, I think Cloud9, baseline, they win this game, but who knows? Maybe this is the game where it just doesn't click and Savage come out and win.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, maybe cold feet, you know, trying to get things warming up today might be something to set back Cloud9. But let's be real here, boys. They have an amazing roster and very, very skilled. I got to sit on the side of Cloud9. That's one of those, it's just, you know, as the new guy, you can't go against a team as formidable as Cloud9. It just doesn't happen.
Like, the only way you can is if they are playing a team that's, like, top of Europe of RLCS. But Savage is just coming in. They're the new blood. But we just don't see it yet, but it could happen. Like, this could be the start.
C9 lose to FlyQuest.
Exactly.
Like, you never know.
This could be the start of Alpha turning into Justin. I'm just saying. This could be
This is the game.
This could be the breeding ground, really, for him to be able to foster that there. But we're going to go ahead and check in with our commentary crew and see some of their thoughts here. Johnny Boy and Shogun, what do you think here? Cloud9 or Savage?
I think we're pretty much expecting this to just be a mechanical masterclass from both these teams, but we sort of agree, well, I at least agree just a little bit that, yes, Cloud9 are the favorites coming to this, but they're taking on Europe's banana peel team.
It's true.
The banana peel team.
This is true. If anybody's going to get the Cloud9 to slip, it really could be Savage. We thought we were going to get this game on game 1, or day 1 rather, but Rogue kind of spoiled that, but now we get to see it day 2. Can't wait for this one.
Can't either, guys. Go ahead and go kick this thing off.
Thank you very much, Dreadnought. And yeah, I think we're going to be, like I said, very mechanically impressed throughout all of this. But you were speaking just before this one, you were just like, you were very excited to see who was considered, you know, a couple of years back to be the best player in the world versus a couple of players here that are in contention for best players in the world.
Yeah, we used to have Devo, of course, like unanimously considered to be the best after he won Season 3. I think most people would agree that he was the best player in the world. But you could pick anybody from Cloud9 now and make a good argument for them being the current best player in the world. So it's a really, really tough ask for Savage to get a win here today. They did not perform well on the stage yesterday, and yes, Cloud9 have struggled against mechanically gifted teams in the past, such as FlyQuest in the North American online portion of RLCS League play, but that's different from a stage match at DreamHack Leipzig.
Well, we were talking in our previous series about how PSG are the champions from last year, but that man on your screen right there, he is also part of that lineage. Still hasn't been dethroned just yet. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Cloud9 versus Savage. Game 1 is about to be underway. Johnny, I am looking forward to this one.
It's all about game 1 for Savage, just like game 1 mattered so much for complexity in their matchup. This is what matters most for the European team. It's Cloud9, once they get going, are pretty hard to stop. But what a save, actually, Torment. It's going to keep Devo at bay with an outrageous stop from close range.
Yeah, but they're going to have to get very used to seeing that as well. Torment, one of the best defensive players in the world. You're going to have to find some way of shutting him down. Bluey already taking to the air. Savage are going to have to keep this one as an aerial-based game if they want a chance of winning this. I can't see them being able to deal with the passing plays that do come out from Cloud9.
Got to keep an eye on Alpha 54 as well. I mean, just like Flakes in the last series we saw, coming in as very inexperienced player compared to the rest of the lineup on stage. the same can be said for Alpha. And he is, just like Flake's, playing on a much better setup than he's used to. We talked about this yesterday. Can he make that count for him? Is he going to carry his teammates to a victory today? He doesn't need to, of course. Devo and Bluey can carry their own weight, but he has to perform. Cloud9, perhaps the best team in the world right now. Definitely the most consistent out of the top teams.
All the way off the backboard, Devo is just going to try and hook that one across, double commit. And Alpha's now in charge of just taking a little bit of time to get his teammates back into position. He's done a great job of that so far. Flip reset. Squishy can save quite comfortably. But now that pressure is on for Savage. Looking to keep it going. And this is the aerial base game that they require. Go full chaos against the North American juggernaut.
Cloud9 are waiting for the misplay. They're just sitting back, letting Savage do their thing, making a lot of good saves. But are Savage going to misplay right now? You know, they might be double committing, but they're recovering so fast it doesn't really matter. There's the first goal for Alpha 54. Cloud9 behind inside the first 2 minutes.
And this is the reason why Speed didn't want to take on Savage. They are a barrage of offensive power. 1-0. And now Cloud9 are going to be looking to try and get this ball out their own half because they have not had any opportunity to play in the orange side of the field just yet. And off the kickoff, that doesn't look to be changing anytime soon. Follow-up shot, saved somehow. It's only 1-0 at the moment, but Torment has kept it from being 2 or 3.
Gimmick as well got on the goal line in the way of a point-blank ranged effort by, didn't see who was following up there, for Savage. But it's just been all Savage for the first game so far. Cloud9 going to try and challenge them earlier on, or are they going to keep on letting Savage come at them? I don't think that this strategy of sitting back is a good idea against Savage, because if anything, it's just giving them confidence.
Here's the thing, as soon as they get boost and they get that ball into the air, Cloud9 can dance with that ball like the best of them, but the follow-up shot for 2-0. Savage are rocking and rolling in this game.
Devo just put the ball a little bit too high for Squishy here. But also low enough that Squishy might have thought for a moment that it could be going in or maybe hitting the crossbar, bouncing down. Both terrible things to happen, of course. Might have second-guessed himself there, tried to make a last-ditch save. It did lead to the miss. And of course, Devo does not miss from that range.
Cloud9 looking to try and put something together. That's across the middle, all 3 players up. Devo happy just to see that one into the far corner. Cloud9 at the moment struggling to really figure out what Savage are putting towards them. They've got a long series to do it. Now going to be dropping down. Torment, his shot needs to be a lot better to even test Savage. They've just got 1 minute and 45 remaining before they will take game 1. Cloud9 still looking for that first big opportunity.
Savage just contesting everything so early. There's no time for Cloud9 to try and pass the ball around in the midfield like we know they do so well. And with that problem that Cloud9 are presented with, they might have to go a bit more direct. Instead of passing the ball around, they have to just go straight over the top of this Savage team. You know, if there's one way to catch them out, it could be that hard clear. Do that same time as Savage double commit, you're going to profit the majority of the time.
Clear from Torment. Gimmick is down there as well as Squishy was trying to wait on the wall. Far corner, but that's not going to trouble Alpha either. He doesn't realize he's got a boost there, so instead he's going to try and pass the one over to Devo. It's a very risky play, however. Cloud9 can keep some offense going. They're going to need to try and put one in soon. This time is very quickly running away from them.
Cloud9 just haven't had many chances this game. I mean, they've had a couple shots, but it's going to be 3-0. Devo with a slow roller. It's bounced in, and there's no one there for Cloud9. Squishy looks like he might have just turned for boost instead of going straight back to the goal when he was respawning from being demolished. Cloud9 can't really get their priorities right so far in this series. You know, with how much of a momentum-based team Savage can be, Cloud9 will have to sort out their problems sooner rather than later. And this one could get away from them.
Yeah, no team snowballs in Rocket League or defines momentum like Savage.
Like Devo in particular.
Very much like Devo. He's either hot or he's not. And right now, that entire team is looking very hot. Over to the middle, there's going to be nobody around. Game 1 might even be a shutout for Savage.
Yeah, Squishy's spinning around, a little bit of freestyling, trying to shake off the nerves, maybe trying to get loose because Savage have definitely come out the better of the two teams so far. Remember, this is the second game that these guys have played today, with Tainted Minds already falling at the hands of Cloud9, Flipside Tactics falling at the hands of Savage. The Savage look like they might be the informed team. Would not be surprised if that's caught Cloud9 off guard a little bit. It's not that they are going to be underrating these guys. Of course, they've got a lot of respect for their opponents here, but were they ready for Savage to play this well, this aggressively?
That's something that they can answer, but we've seen it quite often throughout this weekend how the first game is definitely not a full story about how the full series can go. These teams, as they've got more experience, they've got much better at changing the game plan on the fly and getting some new ideas. For C9, whatever plan A was, it definitely didn't work because they were mauled in game one and shut out by Savage.
Yeah, Cloud9 defensively just getting outplayed here. I mean, Squishy getting beaten to the ball by Alpha for the first goal, and then getting a little bit of a tough situation where Devo hits it over his head in the back wall for the second goal. He doesn't get the read correct. Cat misses his save. Third goal, you got Squishy going for boost instead of back to the net when he respawns. Torment with a attempted half volley wall clear, hits his ceiling on accident. Gimmicks running into the middle of the field. There's just no connection there for Cloud9. Nobody really clutching those saves. Although they did have a couple of really good saves very early on. As soon as the first goal came in for Savage, the floodgates opened. The question is, are they going to stay open as we get into game two?
Gimmick. Just trying to power that one long as we are now in game two. On your favorite map?
It's just so beautiful, isn't it?
It is pretty gorgeous. Devo, straight over to Bluey. Bluey, can he take it all by himself? I don't think he quite knew what he was after from that one. But he's still, you know, angry enough to go and take a player out.
He's made something of it. You know, he landed upfield next to an opponent. Why not just drive it to them real quick? It looked like Bluey might have had more time with that redirect than he thought, because he flew a bit ahead of it. And then had to try and slow down. Could not get the shot on target, but still all Savage. And Devo's going to get the opening goal. Once again, there's just no one there for Cloud9 to help clean up a soft clear gone wrong.
There are two forms of offensive rotation. One where you let the opponents bring it to the midfield and you take it over again, and the other where you are there as soon as they take their first touch. Savage are going for the latter at the moment and are just battering Cloud9 into submission. And it is the main problem that a lot of teams have against Savage, which is, yes, they take the ball downfield, but that's not their main goal to start with. They bump you, they steal your boost, they leave you with nothing left for the inevitable time where they just drive the ball in.
You know, they're looking like a pretty well-organized unit while doing it. There've been a couple of double commits, but for the most part, Savage have been leaving at least one man back, ready to rotate if it all goes wrong. Triple touch Torment gets it across the goal, but no one's there.
It's the first prolonged bit of offense we've seen from Cloud9. What can they make from it? Struggle to get anything going in game one. Alpha. Tries to go for a pretty decent block, but Louis now going to be going towards this one. Puts it on the far side. Gimmick watches that one locked over himself, and now Squishy is blocked by Devo. Savage looking to try and lock down once again.
Alpha looking for a second touch here. Gets hit out of the air by Gimmick, who did miss the ball. Well played by Gimmick to actually make contact with Alpha, preventing the play from continuing there. Center ball towards that same man, Alpha 54. He's getting very involved. It's good to see the rookie getting stuck in here, not at all afraid by the nameplates staring at him across the field.
Oh, that's not a great idea, though. Torment reads the attempted flick. And when you're this close to your own net, this is not how you want to play it.
Alpha's trying to keep that ball away from position that Cloud9 can get a shot from, but Torment is going to go straight through him. I mean, Alpha's trying to keep his card goal side, but it doesn't matter if Torment's got the hitbox and the momentum that he did. It's the first goal for Cloud9, which they really needed. Is that going to let them settle down a little bit and maybe start to take control of the series? You know, a lot of people expect that to happen now, with Cloud9 being as experienced as they are.
A big question now starts to move towards Alpha, because we saw it in our previous series where Flake started well and began to fade as the series went along. Well, the same thing happened to Alpha. Devo. ends up just flying past that one. Bluey's going to put that one downfield and just get some time for his team to set themselves up into position. Alpha can continue to try and play this one to the far side. Savage looking to just settle themselves back down. They do not look rattled by that goal, but Cloud9 proven that they can score a goal out of nothing.
You know, Cloud9 might want to take a leaf out of PSG's playbook, because we did see the complexity in the last series we watched were pretty quick. They're going out for balls at awkward angles just in the name of getting there first. And that's exactly what Savage are doing. Sometimes there's not really any point in hitting the ball the way that they are, except to get it past a Cloud9 player. But with Cloud9 diving in like they are, they're taking themselves out of the game. Maybe they need to do what PSG were doing successfully, just faking challenges, rotating back, letting Savage hit the ball, and then once they're done, move in for the interception. All about that balance though. They don't want to sit back and give Savage too much space like they did in game one. This Gimmick's done a really good job here.
Yeah, that touch from Squishy did allow a little bit of space from Savage to move forward. Gimmick did a good job just to make himself nice and big and didn't allow anyone to move forward from Savage. Here's Bluey, takes his time, set up shot, and Devo didn't want to try and pounce on that one. Realized he could ricochet back to his own side of the field. Now Gimmick with a follow. And that is going to be covered. Still 1-1, minute remaining, but it's just about kept out. What a save from Bluey. Keeps his team in it.
Massive save there by Bluey, defending DreamHack Leipzig champion. Wants another trophy to add to his collection. That guy's got a real rivalry with Cloud9, of course, back in his PSG days. It continues today as Alpha 54, trying to help out Bluey on this occasion. He couldn't get the third touch to take it past Squishy. Final 30 seconds, still all tied up in game 2.
Cloud9 are starting to play their style a little bit more. Here's Savage, maybe caught. But they just about scramble back in time to keep the ball out of their own net. Cloud9 looking to have the better of these final few moments of this game. Put on target, Alpha clears long. He's going to look to try and follow his own touch. Torment is well positioned, looks to go downfield again, but he wasn't well hit. Gimmick over to Bluey. Bluey back to Devo. And there's Alpha for one more, but he doesn't want to blast it again. Well played by Alpha. He could have tried to go for it, but it left nobody back on his side of the field. We're going to go overtime.
Well dealt with by Squishy. It was a bit awkward there for Cloud9 at the end. Savage were finding each other well with their passing plays. Into overtime we go. Cloud9 could really use a win here. Gimmick actually getting a flip reset on that ball. Well in the 50-50 Torment. Squishy follow up and they've hit the post. What a play though by Gimmick. In the middle of a challenge midair, he's landed on the ball and actually used the flip reset somewhat effectively as well.
That is what you deal with when you go against Cloud9. Their ability just to do something that completely offsets your plans. You position yourself where you think is going to happen, and they say that you have no idea what's coming to you.
Side flip from Bluey. Pressure starting to mount up.
Drop down, Torment puts it over. Devo to score. Just over to the side, Alpha doesn't quite come out well on the challenge. Now Bluey is all by himself. Squishy and Gimmick over to the far side.
Squishy's boost starved. Could be pressure for Savage if they can just keep this ball alive in Cloud9's half. A good bit of time's gone past, actually. Squishy did make it over to the back left corner. He's got a demo as well.
Another long clear from Cloud9. Just over a minute now played. Squishy trying to set up, but Devo's got that one covered. He's got it over to Alpha. Alpha for a double tap, and Gimmick is already there. Well scouted by Gimmick.
Another clear as well. Gimmick's not just saved that, but collected the ball, taking control of the situation. Devo off the ceiling. Gets it challenged by Squishy, and it will fall down to a teammate. Stretched out game in overtime, game 2. End-to-end stuff. Double commit from Savage, and Squishy's going to take 2 out of the game with 1 touch. Savage will survive for now.
This is such a huge goal as well. A goal here for Savage would put them on 3 match points. Here comes Devo. Tries to pass off, but now Cloud9 is starting to notice these. Savage often passing to the side. Bluey to put it on target, and Torment pushes it to the far corner. But Savage needs to be very careful about these passing out defense plays, because it looks like Cloud9 are starting to slowly creep forward.
Love that positioning from Torment as well. He was in a very awkward 2v1, came out on top. Still though, Savage are creating so many chances. Alpha into the middle, and it looks like it's bounced off a Cloud9 player. But what an angle by Alpha 54. He's managed to squeeze that one between the defender and the near post. And it did go in off the Cloud9 player on the goal line. Can you believe it, Shogun? 2-0 to Savage. Cloud9 on the brink.
And Alpha with an absolutely monstrous shot to finish it. Yes, it came and bounced off the Cloud9 defender. But if you're a defender there, you have no time to react. You just jump and hope that something's about to go well for you.
They might have been expecting the near post pass, because if you're expecting a near post pass, you get off the goal line, so you can catch up to that ball. But then the shot comes in from almost impossible angle, and you're off the goal line, and it's behind you. It's a nightmare situation.
You see those sort of plays coming in, and the most likely opportunity that you're seeing, as we're going to see it one more time, is it's going to bounce off the wall near you.
That's such a good shot.
It does, but you're just not able to read it. And as you mentioned, Johnny, Savage, 2-0 up. But we casted 2 different series yesterday that went to Game 5. We also casted one in particular where we saw a team 2-0 up, and it didn't work out too long in the long run. I don't want to try and jinx it, but
no, you're absolutely right. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Yesterday we had Tainted Minds against NRG, and we had Triple Trouble against Dignitas. Now Savage against Cloud9. These matchups are all very similar. You've got an up-and-coming team with very gifted players against the mainstay. Teams that are considered by many to be the best in the world. So can Cloud9 make the reverse sweep happen just like Dignitas and NRG did yesterday?
This is where it becomes so very true that that last win is the hardest one to get. But after a long overtime in the last game, that might be very much disputed. Alpha looking to put it in, bottom corner, and he is stepping up.
Alpha 54 beats one player to the ball. Gimmick runs away from the challenge, goes for the boost in the corner when the shot's coming in. And Alpha's just too quick, too efficient, too accurate. 1-0 Savage there, just picking up right where they left off.
And as much as I talked about the mechanics of Savage coming into this has been mostly a rotational game that they've pulled off. It's been aggression, and yes, we've seen a couple of double commits, but they cover each other. They've been looking out for one another and making sure that, yes, if you make a mistake, I can help you.
Yeah, they're double committing with their 2 furthest forward players. Usually their third man is positioned safely. That's the one thing that we can credit Savage for. The third man's played very, very well. That's not something we could say about Tainted Minds, who got reverse swept yesterday. We were calling out their third man quite a lot there. The placement for Bluey is good. And it's 2-0 Savage.
And Cloud9 are moving a lot of players forward with very few results. Another opportunity on what was a somewhat open net. Last time it was Gimmick that couldn't get back. This time it was Squishy. Savage 2-0 up. 4 minutes remaining. They're going to need to look for at least one more.
Yeah, do they have to, though? Cloud9 are really in a tough spot here.
I mean, I say that, but could I even imagine Savage defending for 4 minutes?
This is true.
They would never want to.
At some point, a Devo or a Bluey is going to try something in offense. It does come with the roster. Cloud9 are really in a rough spot here. It's not that they're playing badly at all. They're just being dominated. They're just being outpaced, I would say. Not ready to go toe-to-toe with just the brutal aggression of Savage. Savage are turning for balls that Cloud9 are not ready for. It's as simple as that.
Over to the far side. Devo trying to find that third. And now we might see some of those passing plays from Cloud9 coming out. They've tried a few of them so far. Every single time being challenged.
It could be another goal, Shogun. Devo's got blocked by Torment, but it's still Savage creating a whole world of chances. And again,
take the scoreboard off.
Get beaten by the Savage player in the midfield. You're right, though.
What score is this if you took the scoreboard off?
Guess which team's which. You know, it wouldn't. Is Cloud9 getting beaten at their own game? It's the aerial plays. Squishy firing high. These shots have to be on target. They need to test Savage on the goal line. I mean, Savage have had some pretty good saves as well. It's not going to be easy to get it past them, but Cloud9 have got to hit the target right now. Half the game gone. They're on their last legs in the winner's bracket.
Gonna go long. Squishy can't ever get to that one.
Devo.
Double attack. That's going to be dropped back down. Devo! That is an absolutely phenomenal play. What? Savage, welcome to the upper echelon of Rocket League.
Torment had no idea. Bluey also hardly had to move. Devo's not just connected with this ball, but he's put it straight down on Bluey's head. 3-0 Savage. They are styling on Cloud9.
And now, whenever we've spoken to European players, to European teams, they say that this is one of the teams that they don't want to play. And despite only just being a rival series call-up, they are looking like a team that can beat anyone at the moment. 2 minutes left. Cloud9 have got to pull something out of the bag if they want even a chance at this.
You know, Fairy Peak once said of Devo, when you play against him, you don't really know what's happening, and then at some point, he'll score a fantastic goal, or you get an open net. And right now, Cloud9 are playing against Savage, and I don't think they know what's happening a lot of the time, but turns out Savage are just scoring one good goal after another.
Every time they put a player forward, that player, as we can actually be able to see from Alpha, they just take that sweeping line from one boost on the blue side of the field to the other, and they just see, okay, can I get either of these two? Or is there a player around that I can take out from the field? And it has been working to perfection so far this series. Just over a minute remaining before Savage sweep the RLCS Season 6 World Champions.
You know, you said this series would be all about mechanics. We couldn't wait to see the clash, and you were not wrong, but Cloud9 are definitely outmatched at the moment. They need to play a little bit faster next time if these two match up again, because right now they're getting beaten to the ball. They're not ready for the plays that Savage are making. You know, it's just been speed from start to finish, relentless aggression. Cloud9 have no answer. Still bullied into their own half. It's them who's trailing by 3. You'd expect them to be the ones who are pressing, but Savage just won't let them.
I would absolutely love to see how many of those 2 middle boosts Cloud9 have had access to this game, because I would guarantee you it's in the single digits. It might be even under 5 across all 3 of them.
Most one-sided game yet, and it's the last game of the series. We thought it would be the hardest one to win. Yesterday, the underdog teams were getting reverse swept whenever they got the teams like Cloud9 into game 3. But not today. Today, Savage confirm that they are moving into the final day of DreamHack Leipzig. We will see them again tomorrow. As for Cloud9, they have one more try in the lower bracket. Win, they move into day 3. Lose, they'll go home.
For Cloud9, it's time to go and regroup and figure out what just happened, because Savage just sucker punched that series away from them. Blink and you missed it.
And is that not the best we've seen from Devo in a long time? I mean, Bluey and Alpha have been playing pretty well online for Savage, but Devo has been a little bit quiet. And I mean, for Devo to be quiet, that's just not meant to happen. Devo should be like this 24/7. So it's great to see Devo back in form.
It's probably the best I've ever seen them work as a team. Usually you look at this and just, okay, it's a group of it's 2 phenomenal mechanical individuals, and Alpha is there to just anchor it.
Who also, by the way, has insane mechanics. Yes. These guys are outrageously good.
That is not what we saw here. Just rip up any sort of premeditated idea about what this team was going to be about, because they are progressing and they are getting so much better.
Absolutely. I mean, where does it stop? This Savage lineup that we just saw is the same lineup that lost 3-0 to Rogue yesterday on stage, and then Rogue went on to be eliminated in day 1. Now we just saw Savage 3-0 Cloud9. What is it going to be? Kind of an on or an off on off kind of format? Are they going to be off again tomorrow? I certainly hope not. If we see more of this type of gameplay from Savage tomorrow, they could go all the way. We're talking about PSG being the ones looking to defend their title. Bluey might be the favorite of that lineup.
Well, we certainly don't know what just happened here, so I'm hoping our boys on the desk can explain it a little bit to us. Dreadnought, over to you.
It's pretty simple. Savage dismantled Cloud9 there, limiting their offensive capabilities drastically. You guys pointed out some of the, midfield room to grow for Cloud9 and how much pressure we were going to expect out of the other side, and it looked like all day long Savage had it.
They were just pushing on Cloud9 every single time. They were hoping for the weak defensive touch, and when it happened, and it seemed to happen a lot for Cloud9, Savage was right there to just take the ball away.
And chalk another 3-0 up as well for Savage. Since that loss stroke, pretty sure they've only gone 3-0, right? If memory serves. So the pressure, the aggression, and Gibbs, I have one question for you.
Yep.
So you say, Bread's your favorite pick to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Are you feeling like Savage is the European version?
Like, I really do feel that way. Like, Bread and Savage, I think they are pretty similar, where they're just getting a ton of scoring chances. Alpha right here, that Game 2 winner, that sealed that series right there. Because if Cloud9 wins that, who knows what happens. But
challenge
Savage,
game on point.
Savage, they came in here as what? I think the 15th seed. They are now going into day number 3 as the #1 seed. They took it away from Cloud9. They will play the 8th seed tomorrow. Absolutely phenomenal play from all of them, especially Devo.
Yeah, and I would like to welcome you, Devo, here to the desk. Congratulations on the victory there against Cloud9. And I'm just going to go ahead and start things off with the fact that yesterday the performance into Rogue versus that of Cloud9 today. What is the difference between yesterday and today for this roster? Because it feels like it's day and night.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a lot of issues. Rotations were off, shooting was off. And yeah, today we've just came with a new mindset. We had a scrum actually before our flip side game. So yeah, that definitely helped us perform today. So
it helped just build the momentum, make you guys feel good about yourselves compared to what was going on yesterday?
I can't even explain. It was just all over the place, really. It was the mess.
All right, well, I'm glad you guys figured it out.
Yeah, we did, definitely.
So day 2, you take out Flipside, who just won a major. You take out the world champions in Cloud9. Is there anyone that can beat you at this point?
I mean, if you play like we do today, then I don't think anyone can beat us, because we're just playing so well at the moment.
So who do you want to play tomorrow? Like, who would you rather see?
Yeah.
Like, is there any teams here on day number 2 that you're like, I hope they get knocked out, honestly, because I don't want to see them on day 3?
I'd probably say Dignitas.
Yeah.
Why's that?
It's the scary team in general, I'd say.
Okay, just out of pure curiosity, before TSM got knocked out, was it TSM or Dignitas that you would have been more afraid of?
TSM, yeah.
Okay.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
That's awesome here. Well, you know what? Thank you very much, Devo, and congratulations on the victory. And at this point, it feels like it's going to be a doozy if anybody has the opportunity to be able to take down Savage themselves. We are going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, more Rocket League action here from DreamHack Leipzig.